bringing you the latest news from around the world. And here at home, I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Mazra Hassan. Before we head into our stories in detail, let's take a look at the headlines.
Questions over a link between the Halamage Premasiri murder and pitch fixing. Dayasiri Jayasekara says 118 people benefited from the bond scam. Monsoon active, public warned of gale winds. Pumpkin farmers in Palagala face issues selling their harvest.
The Met Department says following the activation of the southwestern monsoon, wind speeds across several areas could increase. Incidents of trees uprooting and disruption to the supply of electricity were reported. A tree fell onto the high-tension power lines that were running adjacent to the army camp in Kundasale, Kandy. This resulted in a disruption of the power. The Kandy Mahayangane road was blocked as a result. Our correspondent said the power supply was restored by the evening. 3 houses were damaged as a result of the strong winds that blew through the Templestowe estate in Hatton.
I came in from the kitchen. That is when I heard the noise and all of this collapsed. There is no food to eat.
4 line houses in the Valley estate were damaged as a result of the strong winds. Vehicular movement along the Badulla Elitalua road was hampered when a tree fell onto the road last evening. Telephone lines running adjacent to the Galewala Kakirawa main road were damaged after a tree fell. A building belonging to the Kurijankeni Harfa Girls School in Kenya was damaged due to strong winds.
As per the reports, there are 7,000 electricity consumers in the Naul area in Dambulla. There are over 5,000 consumers in Teldeni as well as Kundasale. There are another 2,000 in Badulla. The repair work is now being done. We hope to finish it as soon as possible and restore the power supply.
The Met Department says the rain and windy conditions will continue till the 31st of this month. It adds strong gust of winds of up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour can be expected over the western slope of the central hills and fairly strong gust of winds up to 50 kilometers per hour in western, southern, northwestern and north central provinces. Sea area extending from Mana to Batiklo via Putlam, Colombo, Gaul and Hambantota can be rough or very rough at times as the wind speed can increase up to 60 to 70 kilometers per hour at times. Sea area extending from Mana to Trincomalee via Kankasanture can be rough at times as the wind speed can increase up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour at times.
This is the Askari area in Gampaha. The construction of the access road that leads to the Central Expressway located here was flooded recently. The situation remains the same even today. Several low areas along the Gampaha-Jaila main road remain inundated as well. The flood water did not recede on the other side because of the road. The flood water receded only after 4 days. The water that flowed from the other end remained because of the sand that was piled up over here. It took days to recede. The anikats are small and we need bigger ones.
This is a situation since Monday the 21st. There is no way for the flood water to recede. The causeway is very small.
We have been experiencing this situation for the past 8 days. Back then the flood water receded because we had the marshy lands. But now the lands have been filled. This situation could be resolved if the anikats were widened and raised.
All we need is to widen the anikat and raise the height of the road. The entire village is facing difficulties as a result of this. Children have to be carried on our shoulders. We are like the patients in a hospital.
When large-scale development projects are taking place, there will be collisions with the environment and it is not possible to solve them. When constructions are taking place in the wetlands, it is paramount to take note of water levels in the area and conduct a study on the impact to the environment. It is the responsibility of the respective institutions engaged in the tasks to do so. When that does not happen, we face the consequences. That is what has happened in the Gampaha district.
Meanwhile, with floodwaters receding, several health-related issues have also cropped up.
Diarrhea, leptospirosis and dengue are common diseases that affect the general public after the rainy season. Medical experts say that in addition to the epidemics that could spread because of animals, diseases could also spread due to fecal matter mixing with water. Skin diseases and respiratory disorders are common among them. Putlam, Gaul, Mathara, Kalutara and Ratnapura are areas that were severely affected as a result of the recent floods. Provincial epidemiologists say that diseases could spread faster in these particular districts when compared to other districts that have been affected. The Marville area in Putlam still remain inundated. Our correspondents say that children and adults in the area are already suffering from various skin diseases. With the mud deposits in certain areas, it could lead to leptospirosis and other related diseases. There is one medical centre established to every 10,000 citizens in the Ratnapura district. There are doctors at these centres. The medicine has been provided. In terms of treating leptospirosis, the health officers and public health inspectors are providing a medicine called doxycycline. We ask that if someone has not received it, to obtain it from the PHI. There is a high risk of epidemics spreading. Under the leadership of the Director of the Health Services in the district, all the health officials as well as PHIs are carrying out a lot of programs. They are informing the people at houses as well as hospitals. A program to disrupt the spreading is being carried out with the support of the provincial epidemiologists.
The people of Kadduwa in Mathara, who are constantly battered by the adverse weather, spoke to the People's Mic.
The People's Mic.
There was a flood recently. The roads were inundated. Sirasa reported on several occasions that Kadduwa, Panadugama, Balakawala and Akuressa were affected. No one came to see any of the houses that were damaged.
Concrete was laid on the road. They said the drainage lines will be constructed, but it was never done. Since there are no drains, the water levels go above several houses. There are no drains, they closed everything.
When it rains in the Akuressa area, our area gets inundated even if it rains for one day. We live in the Kadduwa division. The politicians were not able to do anything for us in the past.
We experienced floods last year as well. The water levels were 10 feet high. We received only 10,000 from the government. They said they will grant money. For the second time, we did not receive that. We did not receive any aid. No one came to see. None of the government parties came here. We were displaced. We did not receive any aid thereafter.
The road is broken. When floodwater increase, you cannot differentiate between the farmland and the road. The road has been dilapidated for over 5 years. Anyone living in this area would know the state of the road. But if someone comes here from outside, they will end up in the river. If a vehicle goes into the river, the eyes of the whole country will open up. Even politicians go on this road.
Kadua, which is home to people who are constantly battered by the adverse weather conditions, comes under the purview of the Malimbada Pradeshia Sabha under the SLPP. UNP parliamentarian Buddhika Patirana represents these people from the ruling party, while Kapila Gamage represents the people as a member of the ruling party of the Southern Provincial Council. Newspaper reports quoting the Disaster Management Task Force report reveals that 5.8 billion rupees has been spent on disaster relief programs. Was a substantial amount of money allocated to provide disaster relief to the people living in Kadua area in Mathura? If so, why are people still suffering?
Up next is a report about a road constructed using millions in public funds being washed away by floods.
The Neelabamma Road, which faces the Anuradhapura-Putla main road, was renovated at a cost of 194.8 million rupees just several months ago. The 13-kilometer-long stretch of road was renovated suddenly before its due date and was handed over to the people.
This road was not renovated properly. It's been less than a month since the causeway was constructed. Everything was washed away. The gravel is substandard as well. They get washed away for the slightest rainfall.
Who is the engineer in charge of this project that simply wasted millions in public funds? Who is the contractor that committed fraud via the road renovation? Haven't these individuals committed an offence as per the law of the country? Doesn't taking action against those responsible for such offences pave the way for more large-scale fraud and corruption to take place? Is this not the ultimate result of not penalising those involved in the central bank treasury bond scam? Many farmers in the Palagala Divisional Secretariat have been rendered helpless as they have not been able to sell their pumpkin harvest. The pumpkins from this season's harvest are simply piling up in the homes of the farmers who spent a lot of money in cultivating them.
A kilogram is sold for around 8 to 9 rupees in the market. Sometimes we cannot sell anything at all. I cultivated pumpkin across 3 acres. I have around 10,000 kilograms. We sort out the rotten ones every day and throw them away. We cannot afford anything.
This is a solid waste management centre located adjacent to the Buddhangala Forest Reserve in Ampara. Locals say wild elephants that are attracted to this area to eat the waste have begun to encroach on their villages at night.
The elephants come for the garbage by 3 or 4 in the evening. They break through the electric fence and we have no way of travelling.
We cannot engage in farming. When the sun sets, the elephants come here.
The locals request the authorities to immediately renovate the electric fence.
Relief items donated by the general public to the Sirasa Shakti TV1 Sahanayatra as aid for the flood-affected victims were distributed to the people affected in the Gampaha, Begum areas today.
Today, the relief material was distributed among those affected in the Yatavat area in Begum South. Thereafter, the relief items were distributed near the Vijayarama temple in Gampaha.
Thank you, Sri Lanka. Power of unity, the force of kindness, can overcome any adversity.
Religious observances took place across temples in the country in line with Adiposon Poya, which is marked today. Over the recent days, several factions criticized this day not being used to mark Vesak Full Moon Poya Day, and Vesak was celebrated on the 29th and 30th of April. Several countries, however, celebrated Vesak today.
As today marks Adiposon Poya Day, Buddhists across Sri Lanka were seen participating in Amisa and Pratipatti Pujas in temples. An opportunity was awarded to devotees at the Mihintali Raja Mahaviharaya today to pay reverence to a Buddha statue and Bodhisattva statue brought down from China. The event was presided over by Chief Incumbent of the Raja Mahavihara, Venerable Valavahena Gunavave Dhammaratna Thera. A Sambuddha Puja took place at the Shakya Malaka located opposite the head office premises of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited. P Plus Private Limited supported this cause this time round.
There are many who are involved in the central bank treasury bond scam and who among them obtained funds from this suspicious enterprise. Former Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara is the latest to be embroiled in this incident. Over the past few days, Dayasiri Jayasekara and Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka were engaged in a war of words over this matter.
I was not an MP when this incident took place. I was elected Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province in August 2013. I functioned in that post. The election took place on the 17th of August 2015. The nominations were called for on the 5th of July 2015. On the 13th of July 2015, I submitted my nomination. During that time, I was serving as the Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province.
The cheque was encashed on the 4th of June. Dayasiri Jayasekara said he obtained support for the elections. He said they were business associates. As I am aware, an MP cannot engage in businesses. There was no election on the 4th of June. There was an election on the 8th of January 2015. Thereafter, another on the 17th of August. It was during this transition period the cheque was given. So money was given to Dayasiri Jayasekara during the Northwestern election as well.
Funding an election is not important. When court proceedings were taking place and when it was to be undermined, such a thing did not take place. It happened in some other way. Arjun Aloysius has given money to 118 other people. Those 118 people need to be looked into. If they are proving who took money for election campaigning, then please summon Arjun Aloysius and ask him, to how many people did he give the money aimed at the August 2015 elections?
Dayasiri Jayasekara has no right to speak about fraud and corruption. If they wish to speak, they must return those monies to the treasury.
I would like to ask Ranjan Ramanayaka, is it true that he took money from the gem merchants in the Ratnapura district? Is he to say no to that? Ranjan Ramanayaka sold the furniture in his house to finance his election campaign. He must have taken money for the 2015 elections. How can he be sure if the monies were good or bad? There is no legislation in the country over the donations made to politicians for their campaigns. Let's form such a legislation.
I believe Arjun Aloysius and Kasun Palisena are secretly revealing those names from prison. They would be wondering why only they need to be in prison because they finance these people. The names will be revealed.
Evidence at the Bond Commission revealed that Arjun Aloysius had spoken to several members of the Parliamentary Committee on Public Enterprises during COPE hearings.
Aloysius had spoken a total of 227 times to Sujiva Senasinghe, 18 times with Dayasiri Jayasekara, 176 times with Harshana Rajkaruna and 73 times with Hector Apuhami during periods commencing from January 2015. Dayasiri Jayasekara had also been in communication with Arjun Aloysius with 18 calls going to and from him with Aloysius in total, with 2 calls during the period of COPE hearings. Ajit P. Pereira had only 2 calls between him and Aloysius. Harshana Rajkaruna had a total of 176 calls between each other and 18 during the period of the COPE hearings. Hector Apuhami had taken and received a total of 73 calls with a total of 23 calls during the period of COPE hearings. Former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake and his family spoke to Arjun Aloysius over 750 times in total.
The claims made by parliamentarian Dayasiri Jayasekara stating that 118 people had dealings with those accused of committing the central bank treasury bond scam have raised questions from different factions in the political arena.
I personally think if there are 118, all of their names should be revealed, because that will allow us to understand the real situation. If there are 118 as alleged, I think the President and the Prime Minister have a responsibility to the people to ensure those behind this are brought to light and exposed. I think it must be done. I think saying that 118 people are connected to this is unfair. This will lead the people to think anyone of the 225 MPs are connected to this. Just like he said that he accepted money, if he alleges that 118 others took money, he has a responsibility to reveal them.
Let's now take a look at today's illustrated news by Asanka Ladduahetti.
Here are the details of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit to the northern province.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe arrived in Jaffna on the 27th of May. The Prime Minister attended a progress review meeting that was held in Kilinochchi District Secretariat yesterday. The Governor of the Northern Province, Reginald Kure, and others attended the meeting. The Chief Minister of the Northern Province and Ministers of the Northern Provincial Council did not attend the meeting. Chief Minister C.V. Vigneshwaran, through his secretary, has written a letter to the Prime Minister. Through the letter, the Chief Minister questions as to whether the money allocated for the project to construct 5,000 houses by the Northern Provincial Council was sent to district secretaries because there is no trust placed in the Chief Minister. The letter says that though trust should be placed in public officials, the Prime Minister does not place any faith in him. The letter says that the law should be amended to make sure the provincial councils function. However, at present, it has come to a situation where the provincial councils hold no power. It adds that the Prevention of Terrorism Act should be repealed and the political detainees should be pardoned and released. When problems regarding the education sector were brought to the Prime Minister, this is what he had to say.
The number of students in the school improved and the quality of education improved. We are not a contracting organization just doing cement. I want quality, and quality can come even under trees.
If good results are needed, you need facilities. That is not something the Prime Minister is unaware of. He received his education at Royal College. The schools at present are not like the schools that were there 100 years ago. In the new education system, you need facilities. Without it, you cannot obtain the results. The students in the north have minimum facilities. They engage in their studies with a lot of hardships, yet they receive good results. The Prime Minister says we can provide education under trees. Does he think we are aborigines?
While the progress review meeting was taking place in the Kilinochchi District Secretariat, several letters had been thrown near the entrance to the building. Several of the letters were asking for jobs, while the others contained problems faced by the people in the area.
IT professionals in the country have criticized the Sri Lanka-Singapore FTA and have referred to it as monkey business. These comments were made on Newsline this morning.
I think I would say the free trade agreements is something like a knife.
Right.
So if the knife is with our mother or our wife, they might cook tasty foods.
Yeah.
But if the knife is with a monkey, it might do a lot of damages. So I think that is the concern. I mean, you might, if you have a nice development strategy, you might use FTAs as a good tool.
Right.
But in case you don't have a strategy, and when you don't have a national trade policy, and the process is handled by people who act as monkeys, so it will do a lot of damages to the country and the people of the country. If we take the Singapore agreement, there is nothing benefit for Sri.
Lasantha Wickremesinghe also commented on certain guidelines that have been introduced.
So the main reason that has been that for the reason that they are acting like this or they are thinking like that, and late Dr. Saman Kalegama has laid the foundation, theoretical foundation, which was based on very old theories. Okay, so what the theory was that if you are go for bilateral trade agreements, you are benefited. That was the theory, but it was very old and it was debunked in 1950s. Let me read this. So this is the methodology for impact assessment of free trade agreements, published by Asian Development Bank. Sri Lankan officials are not using these guidelines, and they know nothing about impact assessment, and they do nothing on this. So they just want to.
They ignore this.
I don't know whether they know.
Aware of it.
Yes, whether there is something like this.
On Sunday, Al Jazeera, in a new documentary, exposed pitch fixing in the highest level of international cricket. Now, following this expose, more details on fraud and malpractices surrounding cricket have come to light. In August 2016, the then secretary of the Galle Cricket Club, Halamage Premaseri, was shot dead. Could this too be related to the latest developments?
The secretary of the Galle Cricket Club, Halamage Premaseri, was shot dead while returning home with his son in a car in the Manimulla area in Ambalangoda. There were more than 10 bullet wounds in the body of Premaseri, and the true motive of this killing remains a complete mystery. Al Jazeera's investigation on pitch fixing began several days before the killing of Halamage Premaseri. To be precise, it was before Sri Lanka's second test match against Australia, played between the 4th and 8th of August 2016. In Al Jazeera's documentary, cricket's match fixers say they can make pitches to favour either bowlers or batsmen. An investigation done by Sports First has now revealed more startling details. On the 3rd of February 2016, Godfrey Dabare, who is currently the manager of the international venues and facilities at Sri Lanka Cricket, had issued a memo to Halamage Premaseri before the second test against Australia. The internal memo calls for a 15-member team to be appointed as staff for the Galle International Cricket Stadium. Among the 15 names is Tharindu Indika, who is implicated in the Al Jazeera documentary for pitch fixing. It was this memo that states the appointment of Tharindu Indika as assistant manager of the Galle International Cricket Stadium for the first time. In his response to Godfrey Dabare, Halamage says it would be unwise to make any changes in staff, as the current staff and curator has well over 15 years in experience. Halamage on the 25th of February 2016 calls on Godfrey Dabare to reconsider the request given the recent match-fixing allegations against Jayananda Varnavira causing disrepute to the Galle International Cricket Stadium. However, disregarding this letter, the 15-member staff named by Godfrey Dabare was appointed through a letter signed by the CEO of Sri Lanka Cricket on the 29th of February. This letter states the appointments should be made in line with Australia's tour. However, 6 days after the second test against Australia on the 12th of August 2016, Halamage Premaseri was shot and killed while travelling in a car with his son. Two people identified as Kande Khalasi Uday Kumara, also known as Podi Paul, and another Dasun Manavadu continue to be placed in remand custody over the Halamage Premaseri murder. These suspects have been produced in court on a number of occasions and have returned to remand custody on every occasion. However, the true details of the crime is yet to emerge. In a twist to this situation, relatives of remanded suspect Dasun Manavadu and human rights activists raised concerns over his safety.
There is CCTV footage of the murder. It shows that two people were involved in that incident. It took 1 year and 1 month to name one suspect that was involved in the incident. The reason why it took so long to name the suspect and why it took time to produce this person before court was because there were plans to assassinate him as well. At the time when these suspects were being identified, they were in prison for a different case. The HQI at the time used one of his agents to bail this suspect out, who was already in prison. When the wife of the suspect through an affidavit asked that an investigation be carried out as to why he was granted bail, it was thrown away, saying that there is no point. There was no investigation. There were others who were involved. There were attempts to murder the suspect in the Premaseri Halamage murder. There is an investigation by the police commission that is ongoing.
Pitch fixing, staff transfers of the Galle cricket ground based on personal needs, and the Halamage Premaseri murder. Is there a connection between these three incidents? More than a year and a half after the murder, details surrounding it have started to emerge. Is it not important to ensure the investigations continue without paving the way for the crime to be concealed at a time when many details have emerged from these documents provided to Sports First? Who is allowing the truth to be undermined?
That's all for tonight. I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
And I'm Azra Hassan. Take care and good night.